Going through some of my old castings, I came across this Matchbox number 70 Grit-Spreading Truck that it's seen a little bit of play wear in its day. I have quite a few of these old Matchbox castings, and I just want to do silly things with them. I don't want to do straight restorations on all of them. Oh, yeah, that I'm going to have to replace. This thing's not a real restoration. It's a Restomod, as you probably saw in the description. The glass, it's a metal container, bed, whatever you want to say to the truck. Metal base, metal little front wheel section, because it's all Matchbox. Of course it's all metal. Now this was kind of interesting. The inside of the glass had that really nicely woven spider web inside of it. Yeah, it kind of creeps you out a little bit when you see it, but then you realize that the spider that left that's probably been dead for 40 years. Fortunately, as worn as this is, it's actually in really good shape. The glass surprised me at how good it was. I guess it had that thick web protecting it all of these years. Getting the wheels off the old Matchbox, it kind of reminds you of doing an old Tootsie toy in a way too. Just, you have to push the axle through as best as you can to keep it away from the tire, and then just use a grinder to grind off the lip on that axle. I am doing a wheel swap on this. That's one of the silly things I'm going to do. And I put some pretty goofy wheels on this in the end. I wasn't sure what I was going to do. I knew I was going to do a wheel swap. I didn't know what wheels I was going to put on it. That was part of the big question. There's 2 posts that go into that container portion of the truck. So I drilled and tapped those. And as I'm doing this, I'm toying with the idea of what I want to do. And part of me was thinking just doing a straight restoration in a way with a wheel upgrade and that kind of thing. And then I rethought it. And I kind of explained it as I'm filing here. This is greatly sped up. Again, the body was in really good shape. I couldn't complain about it at all. But I do go over with a file to clean things up. But what I decided I wanted to do, originally I was thinking of doing metallic red for the body and metallic yellow or gold for the container part. Fortunately, I came to my senses. And I decided to keep the container portion basically that same plain yellow, just gloss yellow. No metallic aspect to it. And yet go with a metallic body for the truck itself. And again, being red. And then I thought, well, I'm going to throw some fancy wheels. I thought I'll throw some truck wheels on there. Wheels that look more like truck wheels. And then I went through all the wheels I have, and it was kind of disappointing. But I decided to put, well, you'll see the wheels I end up putting on this thing. It's pretty damn goofy, to be honest. But in the end, I love the result. As far as the paints, I ended up going with the metal cast red that I love, going over that with the clear polyurethane and using the color shot yellow, going over it with the color shot clear. And I'm loving those paints. But before I get too far into this, here's a word about an upcoming event.
This year's Diecast Day of Giving is going to be the biggest one yet, and being a part of it is easy as 1, 2, 3. First step for you to get in on the fun is going to be gather up all your new unopened Diecast toys, find a local shelter, food bank, church, wherever, donate them locally in your own community. That is step 1. Step 2, head over to drivendreams.org to log your donations. And step 3, sit back on the Diecast Day of Giving October 12th and enjoy seeing collectors all around the world donate to this event. DrivenDreams.org has answers to all your questions.
I know anything you can do to support the event, it helps spread the joy of these silly little cars all around the world to everyone. So be sure and check it out. Here you see me not putting axle tubes. I basically treated it as like a bushing that I put over the axle because I wanted the thinner axles for the wheels I'm going to put on there to look like the thicker Matchbox axles. And so it's not true. And I wanted that still to have the metal look. I didn't want to paint over it. So that's the reason why I did those that way. It just slips over the axle that I end up using. And I added them late in the process, as you'll see. Even though I was messing with them early on, you'll see when I add them on. Here I'm using flits on the windshield and just using Q-tips to clean it up and the Microsoft microfiber cloth. Those pointed Q-tips are great. I think I got them off Amazon, like a boatload of them cheap. But the fact that they're pointed, and yes, you can make regular Q-tips pointed if you roll them up between your fingers. But having them pre-pointed comes in pretty darn handy at getting in the nooks and crannies of that windshield on the inside. Yeah, maybe I've been getting too many Flitz fumes. And no, there aren't any that I've noticed. Time for gauzy, gauzy, gauzy. Yep, after I flitzed it, I rinsed it off really well. And I let it dry. And then I dip it in the gauzy and dip it and wick off the excess and then put it on the holder there. As you'll see, I almost didn't use gauzy for this. I almost went with the thinner pledge coat. But I didn't because I love gauzy. And polishing the glass, I didn't want to sand the glass in a way for fear of cracking it. Because, these things are brittle after all these years, too. And they're brittle and I'm clumsy. And the combination of the two can lead to disastrous results. But I thought, no, I'm going to use the thicker gauzy coat to help with the coverage, too. There you see the color shot paint. And I love that paint. And the silver Sharpie that I'm using here is about ready to die out. But fortunately, I've got another one. I added details to this. It was another thing I decided to do. Again, not getting carried away adding the details, but choosing to add some nonetheless, because in a way I'm customizing this. It's not a straight restoration. And one of my favorite builds was a tow truck I did a while back, a red tow truck, a Hot Wheels tow truck, that I added a boatload of detail to. And I was really happy with those results. So I thought, well, I'm going to tick off a lot of people anyway with what I'm doing, so why not tick them off a little bit more? I did have a piece of plastic here the right thickness, and so I just cut out a new piece. I did not put a little lever, like a little lip to it, so you could open and close the sliding bar that allows the grit to drop through. But I just replaced it and had it stick out a little further, so you can still grab it if you want to pull it. But it turned out pretty well. It was a very simple cut to make. You cut it and then you drill some holes and file out the excess, and you got a new little piece there. The glass I end up sticking in there, I thought the blue looked okay, because the blue is not exceptionally dark. It really ends up looking like tinted glass, not horribly blue. And I used the resin pen. Here I'm curing the resin to hold that glass in place. And then it's time to throw it all together. And there you see the little plastic piece there slips back and forth. Pop this base on there. And then there's the two screws that go into the posts. And I just kind of pop this on there. You'll see that, get it in place. And then I did use washers as well with the screws, just to have a little bit better fit. It's handy having the washers around for the 256 screws. I find that, I don't know, probably every 10th build or so, I end up using them for one reason or another, and I ended up using them on this one. You'll notice the axles and wheels are not on yet. Part of the reason for that, I wasn't sure what this was going to look like. Oh yeah, and here's a brain fart. I got to put the washer. I put the washer on the driver, and it's like, wait a minute. No, the screw has to go on there, and then the washer. Yeah, glad I got that on film. Yeah, it should have been in the blooper reel, but hey, my videos are blooper reels. But what I was saying was, I wanted to see what this thing looked like, finished color-wise, before I decided on the wheels. And I end up using the thing where I cut a little piece of the tubing and use it as a cap on the end of the axle. Now I do this off camera because putting those little bead pieces on there is really tedious. Yeah, those are the wheels I chose. Yeah, rolls great. There you see where we started out. And this was obviously a well-loved toy. If that toy could talk, it probably has all kinds of fun stories about being out in the dirt, playing around, the spider that lived in it for a while. Yeah, you love seeing an old toy that looks like this. It had a good life, you know? That's a toy well played with. And I've now made it look goofy as hell. Yes, it's goofy. Yes, those wheels are just flat out stupid. The metallic paint is probably goofy to a degree. It looks like a Tonka truck to me in a way now. And it didn't have that feel to it before. And I love that it does now. So maybe I'm too happy about this thing, and people are going to tell me how I bastardized this poor old Matchbox. Well, hey, it's mine, and it makes me laugh. Of course, some people would say, well, it doesn't. Anyhow, here's some glamour shots. I hope you enjoy the way this thing turned out. In case you can't tell or I haven't said it enough already, I had a blast doing this thing, and I had problems with the paint. This thing went in the stripper. The body itself went into the stripper more than once, but that's the glamour shots. Everybody, thanks for watching. Stay safe and healthy out there, and I'll catch you in the next one.